Am I the a-hole for telling my dad, grandma, and my dad's wife that my mom never put me in the middle? They did. My parents divorced when I, 16 female, was 3, and my brother Shane, 18 male, was 5. Shane remembers them fighting a lot back then. I remember none of it. What I do remember is my dad would always stay far away from mom and would sometimes skip things if mom was going to be present. He'd tell me or Shane or both of us that he didn't want to be mom's friend, so thought it would be easier to stay away. When I was 6, Dad met Kim, and within 4 months, Kim and her daughter, Lila, now 13, moved in with him. Within the next 3 years, Dad, Kim, had my 2 half-siblings, got married, and Kim moved her mom into care for her until she died. So it was chaos. Dad also lost his job and made less at his new one. Shane and I were back and forth between mom and dad. We'd spend a week with mom, then a week with dad. We hated going back then, though, because it was so chaotic. Mom was a stable parent for us. She was able to afford to give us a good quality of life that dad struggled to provide. Mom paid for an extracurricular activity for me and Shane each. She made sure we always had enough supplies for school. She bought us nice gifts. We had game consoles at mom's and other stuff that we didn't have at dad's. Over time, as Lila got a little bigger, and so did our half-siblings, Dad and Kim started asking mom to send them money for us or to buy stuff for Lila and our half-siblings too. Mom refused. Dad and Kim hated that. They tried to say mom was okay with us suffering, and grandma especially said mom should be making sure we didn't feel bad because we had more. Shane and I never felt bad. We knew we had different things because our mom was mom and Kim was our half-siblings and Lila's mom. So different families and different households too. I never felt guilty that we did so well with mom. I never felt like she owed my half-siblings or Lila gifts or food or clothes. Grandpa used to say him and Grandma should do more since they were actually family, and our mom wasn't, and I agree with that. I know Shane does too. A lot of stuff happened since, but a few months ago, Mom brought me and my 2 best friends to a concert. Dad knew I was going, and he told Kim and Lila about it, knowing Lila had wanted to go as well, but they couldn't afford it. This became a really big deal. Lila got so mad at me for it, and my dad and Kim got mad at me because I didn't apologize to Lila. They said Mom put me in the middle of divorce stuff. Then a couple of days ago, they were talking about it with Grandma, and all 3 said Mom made me feel bad by putting me and Shane in the middle of making us watch our other siblings suffer while we did so well. Grandpa called them crazy. I told them Mom never put me in the middle. They did. And she never made me feel bad for having more because I never felt bad. I knew that comes with having different families. They told me to stop defending Mom. Grandpa told them to stop acting like Shane and I need to hate our mom because they do. Am I the a-hole? So the kids should hate their mother because she's actually providing for her 2 children and is trying her best to do good by her kids instead of moving on and having more kids that she clearly couldn't afford. Like, I really hate this nonsense of people having children whom they know obviously they can't afford, and then they get upset about everybody else having what they have. Like, well, you have X, Y, and Z because you don't have kids. Well, duh. Everybody knows children are expensive. This man, he's a father. He already had 2 children, and then he got married to a woman who had a child of her own, then got her pregnant 2 other times. And then now he's responsible for all these kids, and he's mad at the woman who chose to keep her legs closed and take care of the kids that she already had. I don't get it. Like, what is going on here? Top comment, not the a-hole. And I love that your grandpa called them out. You're exactly right. You live in 2 different households, and the expectations and offerings at each are going to be different. It's your mom's job to provide you a loving, stable home, just as your dad needs to provide that for you and your other siblings. The extras can be different. Am I the a-hole for not giving my daughter a car for her 16th birthday and cutting her off financially? I, 48 male, have a daughter, Lisa, 15 female, from my first marriage. I'm not particularly good terms with her mother, and Lisa unfortunately became an outlet for her resentment towards me, which ended up souring our relationship massively. Lisa's a good person, but unfortunately she takes after her mom in terms of demeanor and often acts rude and entitled. A few years ago, I married again. Lisa decided not to attend my wedding and she said a bunch of hurtful things to my then fiance, Rosemary, 38 female. Since then, our relationship got even worse. When Rosemary and I welcomed our son a year and a half ago, Lisa sent me a text saying that since I have my perfect baby now, I could stop pestering her and trying to play family with her. It hurt me deeply, and I ended up distancing myself from her, though I kept sending her $100 a month as her allowance. Recently, we had an unplanned addition to our family. Long story short, Rosemary's sister, who wasn't a good parent to start with, terminated her custody rights over her son Blake, 17 male. Rosemary and I decided to take Blake in. Unfortunately, a few years ago, Blake got into a horrible car wreck that left him permanently disabled. Luckily, he can somewhat walk and doesn't need 24/7 assistance around the house, but that's about it. Blake is an amazing person, and he quickly became part of our family. I decided to give the $100 allowance to Blake instead. He was beyond happy and grateful. I also made a hard decision and gave him my car. It's a 22 Cadillac Escalade, and I was planning on getting rid of it this year anyway since Lisa is turning 16 in a month and I wanted to gift it to Lisa. Now it's Blake's car and he absolutely loves it. He really needed a car because his mobility issues don't let him get around easily anymore, and it changed his life massively. Of course, Lisa didn't like it. When she realized that she wasn't getting any allowance, she called me and asked me what's wrong. It was the first call I received from her in a year, if not more. I explained that now when my family had expanded, I'm not having enough money. I'll still be sending her mom the child support payment as per court agreement, but she shouldn't expect anything extra. She asked me about the car since she knew about my plans on giving her a car. I told her that now the situation changed and I no longer could give her a car. I'll admit, what I said next was probably a-holish of me, since I told her that I now have 2 children to play family with and asked her to stop pestering me. Now, why would you do that? This caused her to blow up completely to the point she got her mom to call me and scream at me, and so did her new husband. They threatened to sue me. Lisa said she'll go no contact and so on. I just brushed off the threats, especially since Rosemary is a lawyer, and I made my peace with poor contact with Lisa years ago. They also managed to write a few mean things to Rosemary and Blake, and this is what got me wondering whether I was the a-hole here. I mean, she's 15, she's a hormonal teenager, mommy and daddy split, custody battles or whatnot. I don't think you needed to say that, but what do you guys think? Let me read the top comments and see what they're thinking in the comment section on Reddit. You are the a-hole. You are the adult and haven't acted like it for basically her entire life. She was 10, 11, 12 when you divorced? She takes after her mom, aka I did absolutely no parenting, and I'm shocked she acts like the parent who actually raised her. You distance yourself because a child says something mean. OMG, seriously? Will you do the same when your son does the same? Cause guess what? No teen has an always positive relationship with parents. More than likely, your kid will say 1, they hate you, 2, you're running their life, 3, they didn't choose to be born or something similar. So you just go and dip when he gets to that age or stage. The person is talking about the man's new baby, OP's new baby. I agree, to be honest. Never mind, I take back. OP is definitely a-hole because his child seems like a child that's dealing with 2 unstable parents, clearly, going back and forth. Obviously, they don't care about their child's well-being. And now the child is dealing with now the daughter is dealing with the consequences of the poor choices of her parents. Now she's acting out. And besides, kids can be having the best 2 parents on God's green earth. By the time they're 16, 17, or 15, 14, they're saying, God knows what. I know what I was saying when I was young. My mom was the best mom. And I would slam doors and eat hot Cheetos and cry about God knows what every 2 seconds. So I feel like he handled this very, very poorly.